back from 11,
mm-hmm.
and then you just got back, and they call you for a special mission.
Yeah, they called us because along with humor, I'm a big believer in morale, that if your team wants to go to work, they'll work harder. So the trip that I set up for after I was the senior enlisted advisor in 11 was to Miami, and we brought a couple other teams with us because we want to work open water tactics with bubbleless scuba, the draggers, combat diving, for a mothership in the middle. How can we work with currents to potentially take down a ship without a boat, but like swimming to it? But we're also in South Beach, so we're going to have fun. We're done with deployment, so we're going to do that. So we're down in Miami at a Courtyard Marriott on the beach at happy hour, and we got a call. Hey, the 4 of you guys are going to Virginia Beach. You got to go home. They're recalling you. I'm like, well, this is bullshit. Because what we didn't catch on to earlier is our commanding officer and command master chief were on that trip, which we're kind of bummed out because I don't want the boss here. It's like mom and dad are coming, but now they're not. So this is going to be a great trip. We didn't know they'd been called to Washington, D.C. because they found Osama bin Laden. So we're down there. They recall a couple of us, and then we're like, okay, I guess we're leaving. You guys have fun. No big deal. We go up there, and they bring a bunch of us back into a back room. And the way it started was this is not a drill. This is real. And we found a thing, and this thing is in a house, and this house is in a bowl in these mountains, and you're going to go get this thing, and you're going to bring it back and show it to us. That's how it started. And we're like, okay, what's the thing? And they're like, can't tell you. Okay. Where's the bowl? Can't tell you. What country is it? Can't tell you. How are we getting there? Can't tell you. How much air support we got? None. Okay. All right. So they won't tell us shit. And we're thinking, well, this is April 2011. The Arab Spring just started in Tunisia, worked its way into Egypt and Libya. They found Gaddafi. We're going to go get him. They don't want to tell us how we're getting there because we're going on flat top in Ospreys. They have a shady track record. They don't want us to know. The Ospreys are one that turned from helicopters into planes. So that's what's happening. They also said, hey, by the way, you're not bringing, it's only SEALs. We're not bringing combat controllers or PJs, which are paramedics and combat control. I talked about the radio guys, the masters of their craft. So because we're not bringing them because of weight in these airframes, if you used to carry a radio, guess what? You're carrying the radio. You used to be a corpsman. You're carrying the medical shit. So we're kind of adjusting our gear. No idea. This is like on a Monday. And like others.
You're still over here.
We're in Virginia Beach. We're back at the command. And like dudes from Gold Team would come up to me and be like, hey, man, what's this mission? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, come on, you can tell me. I'm like, I legit have an idea what they're doing. We're just getting our gear ready. And so we're whatever. And they start telling us stuff. And finally, on a Friday, they said, hey, go home, be with your kids. Come back here on Sunday. And we're going to get in some vehicles. We're going to drive south into North Carolina to a base. And we're going to read you in on what's going on. And we're like, okay.
How many people do you think at that point knew? Like a total number?
In our command?
No, just total. Like the CIA girl, Mia?
Maybe
Maya.
20.
20.
I don't think the president even knew yet.
Really?
Maybe he knew at that point. He must have. But not many. No, they weren't letting people know because this is going to get out. Like we'd had bin Laden sightings before, and they up by sending the guerrilla package in there. Like so they didn't even tell us. So they said we're going to go to a read-in. I remember we asked, well, who's at the read-in? And they said, well, it's going to be the vice president, the secretary of defense, secretary of the Navy. And we're like, holy shit. And then they're going down this list, and I'm listening, and they're like, so-and-so State Department, CTC Pat will be there, blah, 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 blah. They're going down the list.
So Biden was there?
No, but we thought he would be. But what they said was CTC Pad, and that's a CIA counterterror, Pakistan, Afghanistan. And if we're going to Libya, why would Pac Afghan be there? So we go home, and then we hang out with our kids, and Sunday morning we come back early. They put us in 4 vans.
So you're not, you hang out with your kids, you're not suspecting Osama bin Laden?
I am. At this point, because I thought that. And then we get in these vehicles, and we're driving down there. My boss is next to me. My 2 buddies are up front, 4 guys per van. And I explained this to them, and I said, this isn't Gaddafi. They found bin Laden. And my boss.
This is on Sunday.
This is on Sundays. We're driving down.
But back up 1 second.
Sure.
Like, you had to say bye to your girls.
Yeah.
That had to be like.
It sucks.
And you were going to see him again?
We're not leaving yet. I'm going to see him again.
Okay.
We're just going to North Carolina.
We'll
come back and rejoin. So I'm more excited. And I said to them, this is not Gaddafi. They found bin Laden. My boss looks at me and goes, that's exactly what I was thinking. So we're not celebrating. We're just talking, blah, blah, blah. And this is actually funny. The guy driving looks at me in the mirror, eye to eye, and he says, Nizro, man, if we kill Osama bin Laden, I will suck your. Yeah, those words were spoken. And 3 weeks to the day, we were actually standing over bin Laden's body, and I'm like, "Hey, brother, now's as good a time as any." And he goes, "For you," I'm like, "Your bet, bro."
Hey, you said it, not me.
But we drive down there, and there's like this shitty little shack on a base with guards, and like it's a guard. Like they had like one pot of coffee and like 24 donuts, and we each grab some, and we go in this room. They close their lock. There's an armed guard, and there's this group of women that we don't recognize, and the commanding officer, SEAL Team 6, stands up there, and the first time he said, the reason you guys are here is this is as close as we've ever been to Osama bin Laden. So we hear it for the first time, and I'm looking at my guy. Now, we'd all been to war a shit ton together, and our response was, cool, can we go right now? Why are we here? And they said, well, we got to. So Maya gets up.
Were they expecting a response? Like some sort of.
I don't know. I mean, we are professional 12-year-olds, but we know how to do this. And so Maya gets up there and starts explaining us how she found him. Right?
Oh, so she's back here.
She's here. And she's telling us, she was the first person I ever heard say the word Abbottabad. And that just sounded cool.
Yeah.
There's a city in Pakistan called Abbottabad, and that's neat. And she explained us how she found bin Laden, this team, and it was mostly women, to the point where we're kind of like, after hour number 3, it's like, we get it, and I don't care. I trust you. Where is he? And they set up a site to work on. They had pilots there who had never seen, we didn't know we were getting these special helicopters. So we had normal Blackhawks, and we trained just to kind of.
So it's like she's got a PowerPoint, and she's going through like the boring stuff that you might imagine in
just telling us how she found him, and then whatever, and then they showed us the thing, and then they gave us tactical command of what we're going to.
Did you get the sense that right then, like, this woman is a badass?
Yes. I was relieved because I'd worked a lot with the agency, and they had a tendency to push people in leadership positions so they could get promoted. So someone working South Africa, South America, might get an Afghan deployment because that's good on their resume and they get promoted. So they weren't necessarily the best agents. When I heard this team talk, it's like, okay, these are the that they make movies. They make CIA movies about these people, her especially. That's like when Jessica Chastain played her in the movie, precisely what she was like.
Nailed it.
A badass.
Really.
7 days a week, 20 hours a day. After listening to her, I was like, oh, he's there.
Yeah.
They found him.
That's the way the movie portrays it.
That's what she was like. Insane. And I don't know where she is now, and I don't say her name, but if anyone has a chance to hire her in whatever line of work they're in, hire her. She will learn it, and you will win.
Well, I actually sell T-shirts, my Rodeo Time apparel line. I would love, some help with. So if you're out there listening, Maya, and you want to move to Winnebago, Texas.
Let's all join forces and move to Winnebago, Texas.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, they told
you start training.
We started training in North Carolina, and we were just working contingencies.
We set up the mock.
Yeah, and we also had a 2-scale model of his house, like someone designed like a size of this table to scale down to the bush.
That would be so badass.
It was badass. It was badass to have that asset. So we would train 10, 12 hours a day on the site, and then we come back to our room and we talk about
for 3
contingency.
weeks.
1 week for this first part. We talk about that. And but like we were even discussing, there was a point where like on a Wednesday, the tired boss said, all right, what's the worst that could happen? And the youngest guy in the room said the helicopter could crash in the front yard.
How in the world did they miss the chain link thing though?
Well, they had chain link because they wanted to take it down every night so no one could see it in satellites. And they just didn't think, I don't know, training scar. I don't know. But then I remember,
were the helicopter pilots involved in the training?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, of course they were.
They hadn't flown these new ones yet. They didn't even know they existed yet. So we're flying in standard 60, standard Blackhawks.
Oh, y'all didn't even train in the real thing that you were using.
We didn't know, and like to the point where we're talking about it, and like if guys would joke, we kind of be like, "Hey, you need to take this more serious because this is a one-way mission. Like, we're not coming back, man. Take this shit serious." And
y'all were saying that then.
Yeah.
How far out from the actual
2 weeks.
mission?
2
so
weeks.
You're 2 weeks out.
Yeah,
and
because I mean, the way we're conserving fuel, but we're going by like taking stuff off our gear because we need ounces equal pounds. We need to be as light as we can because we don't know if we can make it out.
Body armor?
Oh yeah. I mean the standard stuff, but like no pistols, the minimum amount of bullets. I'm not carrying certain shit. I sometimes carry. I didn't bring a knife. Just trying to lower the signature. And so then we go.
And was it significant?
No.
The difference in I'm saying you operating
just smoother
that night. You felt smoother that night, so it did make that big of a difference. Okay.
I think I carried one thermal barrett grenade, but no frags and no flashbangs.
That's what I would have gone with.
But we flew out to Nevada, and they
on week 2 of training.
And we went out there because they wanted us to meet the birds, the helicopters. And we walked in and we're all kind of laughing. I remember having this conversation. They're like, well, I guess our chances of living kind of went up because we're going to war on Transformers. Like, this is insane. Yeah. And then we worked with those birds and they were awesome. And the pilots caught on real quick. We did a couple full mission profiles, and then we were one of 5 options to go get Bin Laden. We're one of them. And
you didn't know that you were going to be the actual.
We're the group on the ground, but they still might hit it with missiles or whatever. They're deciding that. But we were out there too, standing in line, and Mike Mullen was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and he flew out to see us. That's a huge deal. If the senior officer in the military comes out, he's shaking everyone's hands personally. And the guy next to me goes, hey, Mr. Chairman, we've never been told our rules of engagement on this one. And he thought about it and he goes, let's see. Osama bin Laden is a threat to the United States of America. So that means he's a threat to Americans. So when you see him, you're an American. They're like, we got it, sir.
Yeah.
We're going to kill him.
Yeah.
Enough said. Don't put yourself in there.
Yeah.
And then we went back, and then we decided to forward stage in Jalalabad, Afghanistan. So we flew out there to stage for the mission. So we want to be right there. If we get the green light, it's going to be quick, and we want to be there already. And so we flew over there. And the reason they picked us was because we were supposed to be training, and no one would notice that we were traveling around because we're supposed to be. So then we went to Afghanistan, and no one knew what we were doing. The team that was there was already a team from SEAL Team 6 there, and God bless them because they didn't.
I didn't realize they were a SEAL. I didn't realize it was SEAL Team 6 that was there.
And I would have been pissed, man, if I was already there. Like, you're sending a different team in for me? This is bullshit. I'm already here.
So they're stationed in
Jalalabad. We stayed with them.
And you guys, they're in the fight, and they're fighting.
Yeah. The only reason
the
reason they didn't get it, the excuse was because you're operating every night. If you stop all of a sudden, someone might notice. Why?
Do you think that was that sophisticated they would have noticed?
I don't know.
Or they just didn't want to risk it?
They didn't want to risk it. They didn't want to take too many risks. So we went there, and we got the green light on a Friday. And so we got 2 days to do it because of the loom cycle. It's going to be 0% illumination Saturday, Sunday. And the only reason
they didn't see that shit coming.
Well, that's what we did. That's why
I'm saying like Osama bin Laden, they're not extra cautious on those 2 nights.
It's going to be dark. No,
they didn't realize that those are.
Well, they didn't know they found him because of the misinformation that the agency was sending Al Qaeda, like the dialysis shit. They made that up. He was not on dialysis.
Who did?
The agency did, because they would know when people came in. Yeah, I found bin Laden for sure. I saw the dialysis. And it's like, well, no, you didn't, because he doesn't have one. We made that shit up because we know you're lying. They would say these stupid Americans think he's hiding in a cave. He's not. He's in this house. Well, guess what? We got a chick that found him. We're not telling you until we show up. And even when we got done training.
So they created those rumors.
a false information.
So that it would get back to.
Yep. So they hiding in plain sight, and they lulled him into a false sense of security. And when we got done training every night, here's how cool she was. We had that 2-scale model. We get done with a long day of training. We're going to get a couple hours of sleep. She'd walk over to the thing, go, all right, guys, Osama bin Laden is on the 3rd floor of this building right now. I don't understand why we're not going tonight. Sleep well. Say the same shit every single night.
Same thing she did in the movie.
Yep. And then we're over there. She came with us. And to
Jalalabad.
Yes, to Jalalabad. Not on the raid. She's in Jalalabad. And then Saturday they didn't launch because there was the correspondence dinner in D.C. And the whole cabinet's there, and all the press is there. And they knew that if the cabinet gets up and leaves, the press is like, what's going on? So and the only one with the balls was Hillary Clinton. She said, the press launch, like, let's kill this dude, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
I don't say a lot of good things about her, but that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And then Barack Obama was there, and he's getting roasted by Seth Meyers. So this is the night before the bin Laden raid.
The comedian?
The comedian is roasting him at the dinner because it's a roast. And he said, you know that Osama bin Laden has because the thing's it's on C-SPAN. He goes, Osama bin Laden has a show every night during the week on C-SPAN, but no one watches C-SPAN. We can't even find bin Laden. And Obama's down there smiling, laughing. In his mind, he knows we're going to kill him
within the next 24 hours. Yeah,
that's pretty cool poker face, right?
That's cool.
Yeah. And so we're there, and here's the mindset. So I remember being on a treadmill. It was the NFL draft. I forget which night. And I was a Redskins fan. And I remember thinking, I hope they draft Trent Williams out of Oklahoma we need a tackle bad. And I'm watching the draft. I'm like, kind of hits me. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be dead in a week.
Dang.
Doesn't matter. And then we get, we're going to launch Sunday. So we went in.
Did you guys have a lot of like morbid humor?
Yes. We had, we would play poker every night with the other dudes that weren't going on the mission. And anyone, anytime,
go all in.
Every time. I'm all in. I'm going to be dead tomorrow. All in. But actually, what a lovely watch.
You son of a bitch.
But then we were going to launch, and so we went into the final brief that Admiral Bill McRaven was giving. He was in charge of the whole thing, and he sat us down in this thing, and he said, "All right, guys, last night I watched my favorite movie. It's called Hoosiers." And at the end of he said, if you're not familiar, it's this team from Hickory, Indiana, with 7 guys on the team, and they've never left that town, but now they're in the state championship in Indianapolis, and they walk in, and they can't believe the size of it. They're all nervous, and coach realizes that, and so he has the smallest guy get on the tallest guy's shoulders and hands him a tape measure. What's the measurement from the hoop to the floor? And he's like, 10 feet, coach. Cool. What's the measurement from the back of the rim to the free throw line? Is 15 feet, coach. He's like, good. You're going to find those are the same measurements as your gym in Hickory, just a bigger audience.
Yeah.
And he goes, gentlemen, you do this every night. This is just a bigger audience.
Yeah.
And so we're leaving to go kill Osama bin Laden. And I walked up to Admiral McRaven. To this day, I love this man. And I said, I think I might have called him Bill for the only time in my life. And I said, you're so busy. I doubt you watched Hoosiers last night, but you were born to give us that speech right now.
Yeah.
And then we went out, had a fire pit. I called my dad. The last call was my dad. And he would always say to me, I'd call him before missions all the time for years. And I'd say, I got to go to work. And he didn't know I was overseas. He knew something was going on. And he'd always say, man, I wish I was going.
Oh, he didn't even realize you were overseas.
He had no idea. He knew I was somewhere. And he said, he'd always say, I wish I was going with you. And I'd say, yeah, me too. And this time he said, I wish I was going with you. And I said, I'm with some great guys. Don't worry. This is it. And, I kind of thanked him for teaching me shit, like how to hunt, how to shoot free throws, how to be a man. And I hung up, and it's like, all right.
He knew.
And so we, he went to a Walmart parking lot because and he said he couldn't get out of the truck, and he's wandering in, and my dad's funny because he said, I'm probably mispronouncing these words, but my favorite 2 words are apoplectic and catatonic. And I'm walking through Walmart, and he ran into his sister who's a registered nurse, and she's like, what's wrong? And he said, I don't know what's going on, and whatever. So he's over there, and we're flying over. We got 90 minutes, right, to get from here to bin Laden's house. And once we cross the border, we can get shot down because we're invading. And they might have some of the best anti-air shit. We don't know. But we're sitting there. I'm on a folding tripod hunting chair. The dog Cairo is next to me. His handler Cheese is right here. And I'm counting because I'm worrying about a missile is not going to stop it. So don't waste your energy. If you're worried about something that your worry is not helping, just stop worrying about it. So I'm counting. And I'm looking at the 1,000 to 0, 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 0, 0 to 1,000. I look around, and there's a dude next to me, and he had his headphones on. He's asleep. And I remember looking, I'm thinking, you're literally on the ride to Osama bin Laden's house, and you're asleep.
Yeah.
And again, it's like you have ice in your veins, and again, I see why women find you attractive. Like, that's insane. And then we're 10 minutes out, and this is like a moment where it sounds Hollywood, but I got the tattoo on my arm. I was counting. I was like 556, 557. Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended. I don't know how I remembered that, but that's what Bush said on 9/11. Itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended. Then it starts to hit me. It's like, shit, this is the mission. I'm on it, and we're going to kill him. And then the perfect plan was keep it simple. -1, -2. I'm on -2. -1 is going to fly in front of bin Laden's house and the guest house, put ropes down. Snipers are watching, fast rope. We are going to drop snipers and the dog and the machine gun off. My team's going to fast rope onto the roof. We're going to jump down here. We're going to get him this way, probably kill him through the window. But as they came in, it was an updraft, some weird effect, and it was hotter than it should have been because cooler air, they can fly better, I guess, hotter air. Anyway, the pilot realized that, and he didn't crash, but he knew if he powered up, he's going to kill everyone. He needs to pin it, and he had the wherewithal to put the tail on the mud wall and stick the nose into the dirt. Bink. And as we're dropping our guys off, we're flying up, and this pilot saw that and realized if he can't hover, I can't hover. So he just went back down. And basically, without saying it, was get out. Yeah. So we hop out. My right foot hit the ground. I'm looking over because they're like 15-foot walls. I could see Bin Laden's house. And I'm like, I guess.
Did it look kind of like,
exactly.
Did the movie portray it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, I guess we start the war from here. But I know because we did so many repetitions, I know that off to my left, which is like the northeast corner, there's a double door. We're going to blow that. We're going to breach that, and we'll get in easily. So the breacher, we called the breacher up, and he decided to use a 7-foot charge of C6, which is a master key. That's going to open anything. He puts that down there, blasts it, and it opened like a tin can, but there's a brick wall behind it. And he goes, fail breach. This is bad. And I remember saying, no, this is good. That's a fake door. Damn. And nobody does that. He's in there. Now we know damn well the carport opens.
So you knew that
he's in there. Yeah. And so the carport opens. We've seen cars come in and out of it. So, and I heard Dash 1 saying Dash 1 going around. Dash 1 going around. I'm assuming they just took fire. They're doing a racetrack. No big deal. They were saying Dash 1 going down. So we said something like, this is so-and-so, we're going to blast the carport. And they said, don't blast it. Just open it. Or we'll open it. So the door opened and the thumb came out. I recognized the glove. So my guys are in there. I don't know how, but they are. Yeah. And that's that moment in time where it doesn't matter why we're here. We are here.
Yeah.
And when I talk to football teams a lot, especially the offense, and I try to beat it in their heads, it doesn't matter why it's 2nd and 15. It just is. What we have in common right now is the clock is ticking. We're here. What do we do? So we're going to get in the house. There's already a gunfight going on. My guys are engaged. And I'm like, I'm going to Bin Laden's house. This is it. There's a dude out front that shot through the window, killed one of the couriers and the wife. And here's how sometimes
y'all's guy killed
our guy.
One of the
he killed one, and then the woman like jumped in front of him. And here's why it gets bad with lawyers getting involved, because he looked at me and he goes, and this is an experienced SEAL Team 6 guy, and he goes, she just jumped in front of him. Am I going to be okay? Like, meaning, am I going to jail? I'm like, bro, forget that shit.
Yeah.
Let's go kill
someone. We're in the middle of a raid.
Yes. So we go in and I'm on a long hallway, and one of the basic rules of a gunfight is if there's a gunfight, get out of the hallway. Bullets come down the hall.
Yeah.
So I step in this room and I'm watching my guys and they're doing their shit. And I remember being proud I'm looking for bombs, but I'm being proud of these guys because
they might be hanging, right?
Yeah, they should be. But I don't see
if they're
them.
ready to blow the whole house.
Whole house. And if anyone's going to martyr himself, it's Bin Laden. But I'm watching my guys like they're not even phased by this, and they're not speeding up. They're not talking. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. They're doing their shit. They're breaching doors. They're going through their the proper escalation of force. And then the guy next to me who was in the bird, he goes, helicopter crashed. And I go, what helicopter? Oh my God. Because we have 2 Chinooks behind us now because the president authorized more. And I'm assuming they got shot down. Like we just lost 30 dudes.
Damn.
I go, my God, what helicopter crashed? And he goes, bro, our helicopter crashed. Like, I think you walked right past it or something. I'm like, and then as we're having this conversation, I registered, okay, that's why they're here. They crashed. Okay. And then the sniper and the dog are getting to that. Their job was to do 2 full loops around the compound to make sure no one gets out. And our sniper didn't register that they crashed, but he could see the tail. And he said, hey, guys inside, be on alert. They're definitely ready for us. They have a training mock-up of our super secret helicopter in the front yard. And there's that weird pause, and the ground force commander goes, no, you jackass, that's ours because we crashed. And you hear the sniper go, yeah, that makes a lot more sense than the shit I was saying, carry on. So that's the conversation that's being had. And then we go up the...
in that moment, though, he was like, oh my gosh, how sophisticated.
Yeah, how
they knew about
dudes.
this helicopter.
They knew it, and they're training on
I didn't even know this helicopter
I didn't know
existed.
until 5 days ago. But then we... So Maya had told us that I don't know what... And we told her, too, don't tell us what you think it looks like inside. Like, don't tell us how many men, women, and children are there. Tell us how many people you see, and I'll figure out who they are when I get there. Don't tell me...
You don't want to have too much.
Well, yeah, because it might be... Like, if you tell me there's definitely a left-hand turn, it's going to be a right. Just let me get in there and let my tactics take it. But she said there is a stairwell, and you will run into Khalid bin Laden, and he will be on there. And here's how cool she was. She said, If you can ace him, you get a shot at the big guy.
Oh, dang.
So we go to this thing. Sure enough, there's Khalid. He hops back behind a banister. So the stairs go up, come back. There's a banister. And I'm like 7 or 8 dudes back. And normally in an urban environment, I'll grab the dudes in front of me and like yank him back because he could chuck grenades down. But we're going to die tonight anyway. And I want to see, because there's 2 grown men separated by 10 inches that want to kill each other. I want to see this.
But he can't see y'all.
No, and we're quiet. That's very important because we're not yelling. And so
he didn't even know y'all were down.
He knew
there.
someone was. But now, so in his brain, he's thinking, is this the Pakistanis coming to pull us out and take us somewhere else? And so the guy in front just whispered, Khalid, come here, in 2 different languages. Like, that he understood. Khalid goes, what? Tilts his head over. He goes,
damn.
It's like, wow, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen. So then we step over him, go to the second deck, and everyone in front of me except the guy in front.
So he whispered his name in another language.
2 different
languages.
This
guy was like, oh, this is my buddy coming to save me.
And he asked
leaned
him
over.
And he blasted him in the face. And he's dead.
I mean, that was
badass.
just
That's tactics, man.
Yeah, like he just had
smart.
to.
That's smart. You don't teach that.
He came up with that plan in that moment.
Yeah, because he's a good goddamn operator.
In that moment.
So then we go to the second floor. The point man stayed where he was. He's looking up the last set of stairs behind a curtain, and a shot had been fired before I got there. The other dudes are now going into different rooms to clear them because you want to secure an area before you advance. So he's up there, and I turn into the 2-man. And what the job of the 2-man, the point man, the 1-man, is his job is to look forward, and your gun goes where your eyes go. His job is here. My job is to turn around and look for guys. My hand is on his shoulder. I'm not controlling him. I'm just letting him know I'm here. And once I squeeze through effective communication, that means we have enough guys, time to go. So I'm waiting for 4 dudes. We're thin now. We're out of guys. Mm-hmm. I'll take 2 now. And the point man starts talking to me. He's like, we got to go. Come on. We got to go. Because he'd seen people moving. And he's assuming those are the suicide bombers. Yep. They're the suicide bombers. We got to go. And he finally said something. And I remember thinking, okay, this is it. We're going to blow up. And it wasn't bravery on my part. It was more of I'm tired of thinking about it. Let's go. So I squeeze him, and he goes up, and he opened that curtain, and there was 2 people there that he assumed were suicide bombers, and he just jumped on them. He tackled them, and he gave up his life for the guy. But he didn't know it was me. He knew it was one of his guys. But he gave his, like jumping on the grenade.
Yeah.
How this guy doesn't have a Medal of Honor yet is beyond me. He should get one eventually. But just simply because he went this way, I went that way. There's Osama bin Laden standing there, 3 feet away from me. Amal bin Laden is in front of him, and I see him. I can close my eyes and see him. Taller than I thought, gray beard, shorter than I thought, skinnier dude. That's his nose. That's him. He's not surrendering. He's a threat. His hands are on his shoulder. So I shot him twice, moved her, shot him again. And he's taking his last breath. I can see his brains. And I'm moving her. And then here's the humanity part. His 2-year-old son, Hussein, is down here, right? And as a father, I remember thinking, this kid's got nothing to do with this, man. So I move him and I put them on the bed and other Navy SEALs, because other SEALs are going to come in now, and they are. And she, even though she's a bad guy's wife, I'm moving her out of the way. So they come in and we're going to take pictures, but I'm standing there, and one of my buddies comes up to me and he goes, "Are you all right?" And I said, "No, yeah, but what do we do now?" And he goes, "Now we find the computers, man."
So was there in that moment just like, oh man, we're still alive?
Well, that was it, because I said, "What do we do now?" And he said, "We find the computers. We do this every
you hadn't
night."
thought past that.
No. And I said to him, I said, "You're right. I'm back. Holy shit." And he said, "Yeah, you just killed Osama bin Laden. Your life just changed. Now get to work."
Yeah.
And that's how it went down. It's like, okay, cool. So we got to take a picture. So I'm putting water on his face, and we held his head together. So if they ever release those pictures, those are my gloves holding his head. We get the pictures. We brought one guy who had learned Arabic. We picked up one guy from Blue Squadron, the team that was there, because he had learned Arabic. We're going to need someone to talk Arabic. So he came. That's how he got on the mission, which is awesome. So he's over there, and we went downstairs. We start checking. There's 3 offices with old school, like, computer towers.
Was he SEAL Team 6?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he was one of the other squadron guys that was already there.
Gotcha.
But because he was SEAL Team 6, we can take him. He knows the tactics. So he's awesome. But he just speaks Arabic, because we didn't bring an interpreter for that part. And we just were finding stuff. We went back upstairs. They got him in the body bag, and me and three other guys grabbed that, and we yank him down. We bring him down the stairs. We bring him outside, and there's Johnny, the sniper. And I remember going up to him saying, "Hey, here's your guy." And he goes, "You got to be shitting me." I'm like, "No, we got him." He's like, let's leave. Let's live. Let's leave." So we go back in. It's kind of like, all right, we got to saddle this shit up. We're leaving. We got to blow that helicopter up. We got to call in another one. We don't have our Air Force guys, so we're going to see how good we are at this.
Yeah.
And
y'all got Khalid's body too, right?
No, we left it there. So we call in another.
And they. It seems like everybody always said that it's just like porn everywhere.
I think there could have been. It wasn't everywhere. It might have been on some of the external hard drives or the CDs that we found. But we're at a point where we know what is intel, and we're just throwing it in bags, and we're going to let the smart people look at this.
Yeah.
Later, we were told there was porn on some of the CDs, but I didn't see it. I saw opium, a lot of opium.
That you thought was freeze-dried steaks?
I thought it was freeze-dried steaks. I'd like, these guys are in for the long haul. But
why did they have opium?
Raw opium. They were selling it to fund Al-Qaeda.
And since his house is, quote unquote, the safest, which it ended up not being, but it was also a good place to store.
It's a good place to store it too. Plus, I mean, they're being protected by Pakistani intel. They know they're there. So this is perfect cover. They can run Al-Qaeda because they're, that's the center of the world over there. And Pakistan has their best interest in mind, and their best interest is not necessarily killing all of Al-Qaeda, because then Al-Qaeda will go after them for sure. And they have nukes. So it's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But then we call in a 47, a Chinook. We blew the helicopter up, almost blew that up.
Yeah, so y'all are about to blow the helicopter that crashed.
Yeah.
And you kind of caught.
Well, yeah, we because we're calling it in, but a couple of us were kind of going back and forth what I remember as far as calling in a bird. I'm like, hey, what's the time fuse on that? They're like 30 seconds. Abort. And so the 47 coming in does a big loop. This damn thing blows up. It's like, we almost blew our own helicopter up coming to get us. Then they come back in, and now we look over, and there's a dude standing maybe 100 yards away, and he's on his phone. He's the dude tweeting. And if Twitter was as big as it is now, as X, like, we would have been busted. He's live tweeting, like, why is Pakistan running an exercise on a Sunday night? And I'm looking at this dude, and if I'm in Iraq, I'm shooting him because he's outside a compound with a phone. He's going to blow something up.
But you knew he had no idea.
It hit me with, they have no idea we're here.
No idea.
We're gonna leave, and this is good. So that 47 comes in, and we all get on it. There's other guys from Blue Team on it, and people don't realize that SEAL Team 6 rescued SEAL Team 6 on this mission. So they're in the bird. They came to get us, and they're going to fight with us now if we have to. But we get this bird, now we're leaving.
So in the movie, it's like people coming up the street. It's like, hey, we got to get out of here. Yeah. Was it that intense?
I think it was. But the dude, and I don't know. No, we did have an interpreter. I don't know who he was. I think he was a case officer with the agency, but he definitely spoke fluent Urdu to the point where there's no accent. Because a lot of guys that learn languages, it's like a dude from Boston trying to get away in Birmingham, Alabama for being an Alabama. No, I can tell you're not. Yeah. That's an accent. It's not a bad accent, but an American trying to speak that shit, they're going to know.
So that guy's yelling
He's
to
saying
everybody.
It's an exercise, go home. This is an ISI exercise, go home.
So maybe it was a little more calm than the movie in that moment.
I know that Johnny told me he was ready to smoke people. He was ready to start shooting. But they did talk him out of it. They talked the locals out of it.
How many minutes did you leave on the table, do you think?
I think we were there for 47 minutes. We wanted to be there for 32. We got to 47. I want to say 47 minutes.
At what minute do you think
50
that it's done? Like, y'all are like toast?
Well, 32 minutes is our drop dead time, but we stayed because there was so much intel.
But I'm saying, like, at 55, y'all would have all been dead.
Probably. Or in a gunfight, a really bad gunfight, yeah. But again, right now it's just the Pakistani police.
Mm-hmm.
We can take them.
Because obviously, not more. There probably weren't very many people that knew that Osama bin Laden was in that.
They were good about it. They were good about keeping it quiet too.
But I'm saying, like, Pakistan, the neighborhood, nobody really.
The intelligence service knew. I don't think the Pakistan military knew. They kept it very quiet. But
they didn't know that Osama bin Laden was in that house. Pakistan?
No, Pakistan did, but not all of them. The intel service knew. The military, I don't think did, but the intel guys did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so now you guys get on the other helicopter.
We're leaving now on a mission we're supposed to die. Now we're leaving. And we know that we have to live for 90 minutes. And if we live for 90 minutes, we get 50 years and we get to see our kids again. 90 minutes.
90 minutes to the border.
Means we cross the border. 90 minutes means we live, but we have 90 minutes to get there. And we could get shot down now because they know something happened. So they're going to be looking for us. So I'm on on a helicopter sitting next to Johnny, the sniper. I got a dude from Blue Squadron here who was actually from Manhattan. And this kind of sunk for me too, because he asked the question everybody asked when they found out Bin Laden was dead. They said, who got him?
Who shot him?
And I said, I did. And he said to me, no shit, this is SEAL Team 6 operator. He goes, on behalf of my family, thank you. It's like, all right, shit. And then that's when Johnny handed some Copenhagen over to me and goes, now you know what it's like. You know what it's like to be a hero. Take one of mine. And now so it's like, all right, well, might as well start the watch. So I'm going to count to 90 minutes. And we're just sitting there listening to, and there's a fast helicopter. It's very loud. And we're kind of thinking about 50 years of life. If we just go 90 minutes, it's been 10 minutes. Now it's been 20 minutes. Now it's been 30 minutes. It's been 40. Now it's 50 minutes. We got to get to 90 minutes, 60 minutes, 70.
What's conversation like?
Nothing. Just sitting there, and everyone's kind of doing this number.
Nobody's sleeping at this point.
Oh, no. This is straight up. And the pilot's up front with whatever gas pedal he's got, beeline. And the 47s are the fastest helicopters we have, and they're hauling ass. And I started thinking about
one of them is the newer one.
The 47s?
That's the secret helicopter?
No, one of them is. The one that we flew in on, the other team got on, and they flew to another 47 to refuel them, and they had the body. We had DNA in our bird, and we're trying to get back to. So we're not going back together. We're just going back to the same spot.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And I was thinking about sports analogies. Like this is like Yankee Stadium, top of the 7th, watching a no-hitter. I'm not going to say anything, and I don't want to jinx it. Then we're at 80 minutes. And I remember thinking of Miracle on Ice, the 1980 hockey team. Probably the greatest sporting event in the history of this country, where you've got a group of college kids.
Also a great movie.
Great.
Kurt Russell.
Miracle, yes. Yes, great movie. Herb Dean. College kids who have no business being on the ice with the greatest hockey team ever assembled, the Russians. No business. And now they're winning. In the third period, 4-3, and you can hear the crowd, 10, 9, 8. Al Michaels is famously calling that. And I'm thinking that 85 minutes into a 90-minute flight, the pilots are just cool.
Were you thinking about that moment in that moment?
Yes.
Thinking about that movie?
That's how close we are. 10, 9, 8, counting down to the pilots are always, we make fun of them for using a monotone voice, but they use that to keep you calm. Because you're doing nothing for them. They got it. You being freaked out, it's not going to help. So calm down. That's why obviously we've hit some turbulence up here at 38,000 feet. Shit like that. Because imagine if they screamed, this could be it. But the pilot came over the radio in that voice and goes, all right, gentlemen, for the first time in your lives, you're going to be happy to hear this. Welcome to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That's when the high fives came out.
Dang.
And then we land. We're waiting on the other bird. It lands. That's it. No one's hurt. We got him. The body's right there. The point man and I, the guy that was in front of me, we pull each other aside because he wanted to say, like, where the was everyone? I'm like, just thin, bro. We were just thin going up the stairs.
Was he the same one that he wasn't the same one that shot Khalid?
It was between him and one other dude. I couldn't tell which dude it was. They were both there, and they're both badasses.
And you don't know?
No, we didn't really talk about that. But he just asked where everyone was in the last set, and we got over it. And then he said, well, there she is. And he said to me, the point man said to me, you got to give her something because you killed him. You own it. I said, yeah. So we walked over. I pulled a magazine out of my gun. I jacked the last round at the one that was below the 3 I shot him with. And she's sitting there, and I said, hey, do you have something? You have room for this in your backpack?
You pulled one out?
I pulled all of them out, and then I pulled the last one out and put it back in the magazine.
Oh, you gave her one?
No, I gave her the whole thing, the whole magazine plus the last round.
Right.
In there. And I said, do you have room for this in your backpack? And she said, I think I do. And I said, good, we have something to show you. Now, in the movie, the reason the movie 0 Dark 30 wasn't excellent, it was just great, was at the ending when in the movie they brought Maya over to the body bag and they showed her and they gave her a moment and she cried.
Yeah.
Not what happened. But she did give her life to find this guy. So we're walking her to Bin Laden's body, and it starts to sink in with me that this is historic and this is going in the history books. And the only reason we're here is because of her. She found him. She gave up her life. She's not married, no kids, working her balls off. Then I put the pressure on myself because the Charlie Sheen movie, I got to think of something cool to say. So we walk over, and I thought this would have been the ending. I point down, his body is right here. I'm pointing at his face, and I said, is that your guy? She looked down for a second, tapped me on the back, and goes, I guess I'm out of a job, and left. And that was it. gone. Like, didn't even stick around.
It makes sense that, I mean, the badass that found her would have something like that to say.
All, and it was way better than my line. She was a stud.
Yeah.
I saw her a couple of weeks later, too. It was pretty, well, I ran into her because I was in New York. And again, I was a Redskins fan. So their opening day, RG3's playing. And so there was it was Trent, whatever, the draft doesn't matter. At some point, I was thinking about some player, but maybe it was a year later. Doesn't matter. RG3 was drafted. Yeah. I want to watch him play. I'm in New York with my cousin who lives in New York, who's a tax attorney, nothing to do with the military. And I said, hey, this woman's coming to meet us for a drink, and we're going to watch the games. You cannot tell her anything. You don't know shit about this mission. No one knows anything. Here she comes. Right, so she's walking in. I stand up, give her a hug and a kiss, and she sits down and looks at me and looks at him and goes, does he know? And I said, yeah, he knows everything. And she goes, cool, now we can talk about anything. Tequila. She's just awesome.
Oh, man.
She's something, man. She's out there.
Were you and her, did y'all help with the movie?
No.
So how did they know?
Enough people were involved. Leon Panetta was involved. He was the head of the CIA. The White House that were in the situation, they helped out a little bit too.
I mean, maybe they talked to her a little bit or something.
They may have. I mean, she may have been ordered to. I don't know. They did a good job with the movie.
The part where her friend was like gonna go meet was that for real?
That was real, but it wasn't part of the Bin Laden raid. That was more going after Ayman al-Zawahiri, who was the number 2.
Oh, and in the movie, they made it more like
they made it. I mean, she definitely knew the woman who was in charge, and the woman, I wasn't there, but we were getting cables as far as guys were saying she's going to get a lot of us killed, and she did. She was baking a damn birthday cake for the guy when he blew himself up. He was a triple agent, so it was a really shady thing. It had nothing to do with Bin Laden, though.
What do you mean she was baking a birthday cake?
She made a cake for the guy.
Oh, she was giving him one.
She was bringing him a cake. She made it for him. Like, thank you for giving us the intel.
Was it real intel the guy had given?
It was something good enough to get him on base, and she was pretty bad. I don't want to trample on her grave, but like you check guys a certain amount of times before you let them drive right up to the chief of base.
Uh-huh.
They didn't do that.
Dang. So the part about, I've thought about the little boy that you find in there, his son. Like, it's 13 years later now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, odds are.
Don't know. I mean, I've heard everything from he's going to be running the show to his dad told him do not get involved with this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, again, too, it's one of those things where they need to be right once, so you might as well be prepared.
But wait, what?
Well, I mean, are they going to come after us?
Oh, yeah. So I was going to ask that. I was just going for the fact that, like, essentially you're leaving behind a future bad guy.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying y'all should have. I'm just saying like that's a reality.
Crossed our mind.
Yeah, you made the right call being gentle with a 2-year-old,
100%,
obviously, no matter what.
Yeah,
if you know.
I will take that to my grave, too. That's a good decision.
100%. But now that it is 13 years later and now he's 15.
Well, and too, that's why I take current events so serious, because I am on hit lists. And our border is wide open because of this administration. I can't get life insurance because I am on an ISIS hit list and Al Qaeda hit list. That's how much it affects me.
You can't get life insurance?
No, it's very real. And I love those companies too, the life insurance guys. Like, oh, we support the troops. Yeah. Do you? No, you don't. Yeah. What's my premium going to be? Because they might come after me.
Yeah, I was thinking about it today when we were driving over here that, this is one of those where, I mean, I don't know, you might not be this mindful, but like I probably shouldn't post beforehand that you were going to be here.
Yes and no. I mean, well, down here,
I just picked up.
After meeting y'all and being here, I kind of wish they'd show up. We'd win. And then we have a great story to tell over dinner.
Yeah. But does that ever...
Yeah.
Do you change plans or do you plan accordingly because of that stuff?
I have a lot of stuff in place that I don't discuss, but I've been prepared for it. I mean, since I joined the Navy, I guess.
Yeah, I guess now we're talking.
But I mean, everything, dogs, guns, cameras, all that shit. Yeah, you have to. I mean, I can't talk about stuff I've done with my family, but major changes, zero help from the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, thanks for coming. Like when I left the Navy, and I'm not looking for sympathy. Like, what did Major Payne say? If you're looking for sympathy, check the dictionary between shit and syphilis.
Yeah.
But I remember asking them, like, I didn't retire, and I knew I wasn't getting benefits, but I asked them the day I was leaving, like, so as far as health care for my daughters, how does that work? And they go, oh, midnight tonight, it's over. Thanks for coming. It's like, all right. So basically, I don't know the Navy shit, but they don't know me shit either, so whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad about anything.
Yeah. But I'm going to write that damn book.
Well, yeah. And I did it the right way, though. It got approved by everyone.
Yeah.
Because I think books are important, too.
I think all y'all should write them.
People need to know the history.
I crave it.
It's good shit. And there's amazing
history.
stories out there.
And I feel like I said earlier, you know, I almost went into the military and I just couldn't not rodeo at the time is what I felt like. And, you know, then later rodeoing with a Marine who had been to Fallujah, it made me like, all right, maybe I could have done both. But regardless, my point is I've always felt just guilty that I did it, being 20 years.
You made the right call. Absolutely not. Don't feel guilty for that at all.
But it does make me appreciate you guys, and I just kind of, reading Marcus's book and yours and, Eddie Gallagher's, all you guys. And it's just like, man, y'all had such an experience over there that I wish was even more documented.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, there's so much that happened. There's so many stories, so much sacrifice that people have made. It's
a history book.
No.
This is a history book.
Yeah. Good book, too. And the very first sentence is true. I owe my career as a Navy SEAL to a girl. And you'd be surprised how many, I love when I hear the term all volunteer military. A lot of men and women join because they got dumped by someone.
Yeah.
It's like, this is it.